So in deciding whether or not the fiancé visa is the right path for both of you, there are a few considerations that you should take into account in making your decision. The first one is that in general, historically, the fiancé visa is a preferred option for couples as it has been the fastest option. Please understand that depending on when you're watching this video, immigration wait times and policies do fluctuate. But having helped thousands of couples and been in this field for many years, we have found that historically the fiancé visa is the fastest option, and it's typically the option that couples will choose if they're looking for a route that allows them to be able to start that next chapter of their lives a little faster. Another benefit of the fiancé visa is that for couples who are still really nurturing and exploring their relationship and aren't quite ready to get married in that moment, the fiancé visa is a great option because it gives you that time to grow your relationship, to nurture your relationship, and to make sure it is really the next step in your lives is marriage. Now, when you're filing the fiancé visa, of course, one of the eligibility requirements, as I explained in a separate video, is that you have to have an intention of getting married within 90 days of entry in the United States on the K-1 Fiancé Visa. So it is a requirement that if you want to complete that process, that you ultimately do have an intention of getting married. However, the nice thing about the fiancé visa is that it gives you as a couple additional time if you're not quite there, not quite ready to get married. And it's also an opportunity for the immigrant beneficiary to come to the United States and really assess the viability of living here in another country if they've never been here. So it's exciting. You're in love, you're ready to get married, you get to move to another country, but those are a lot of big changes and it can be overwhelming. So the fiancé visa is a great option for couples so they don't feel like they have to jump right into marriage and then not be able to live together. It gives you some time to really, like I said, nurture your relationship and assess viability of living in another country. Something else to consider, some couples will choose a fiancé visa option because it might be too difficult, or there might be extra hoops to jump through to get married in another country. Typically, that's not one of the top reasons that couples will choose the fiancé visa, but it is one of them that we have seen where they decide it will be easier to get married in the United States, or maybe there's more family members in the United States and they prefer to have the marriage in the US. So that's another benefit of the fiancé visa. The last benefit that I always like to mention to couples is that if the immigrant beneficiary has children that are over age 18 but under 21, and if you're not married as a couple yet, the fiancé visa is a great option to consider because once children are over the age of 18, it becomes a little more complicated, the process to be able to, for the immigrant beneficiary to be able to bring those children. So that's another consideration. Another benefit of the fiancé visa is that it allows individuals, immigrant beneficiaries who have children that are over or under 21 years old to be able to come to the United States on a process with something called a K-2 visa. Just an interesting side note and something I explained in a separate video about K-2 visas for children is that the fiancé visa actually has a higher age requirement, which is a benefit compared to the spouse visa, where stepchildren are children who are age 18 or under at the time of marriage. So if you have children, if the immigrant beneficiary has children and they're between that age of 18 and 21, that's something really important to consider in terms of the fiancé visa being a beneficial path as opposed to a spouse visa. So those are the benefits of the fiancé visa. And now I'd like to kind of go over some of the aspects of the fiancé visa that maybe make couples decide not to go that route. The biggest one I think would be really the amount of steps, the amount of steps that are involved in the fiancé visa process. With other processes like adjustment of status and spouse visa, the steps are a little more consolidated. And with the fiancé visa, it's broken down. There's more applications, there's 2 interviews. And so a lot of times couples will decide not to go down that path because it is a little bit more of a complex process. Another aspect of the fiancé visa that causes couples to maybe to choose not to go down that path is that once the immigrant beneficiary arrives in the United States, he or she will oftentimes have a period of limbo where they're unable to work. Now, you'll be able to apply for a work authorization, but that can take, depending on where we're at in immigration with wait times, it can take many months to be able to receive that work permit. And depending on the state, that can have implications for whether or not you can have a driver's license. And basically, like I've said, the immigrant beneficiary can sometimes be in a period of limbo. For some individuals, they are able to plan for that, and they know it's more important to be together. And so it's just something to really balance in the benefits and the disadvantages. Those are some of the things you want to kind of put in balance to decide what is most important to you, and determining whether or not the fiancé visa makes sense for you as a couple.